Hey everybody, today we're going to be looking at some Stream Deck devices to try to see which one might be right for you. Hi, I'm Noah from Hacking Hollywood. So I do live video production and I use Stream Decks for my workflow to work with a ATEM 2ME switcher. We're going to be looking at a couple devices today to kind of get a feel of which one fits best for your workflow and your setup. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, we got our three devices here, our 6-key, 15, and 32-key setup. The first thing I'll point out is they all have the ability to have the slants, right? So you can have it at face value if you have, a keyboard and mouse here. You can have the keyboard flat and working on that and then reach up to touch these keys, which is quite nice, kind of cool. I will point out that the 6-key one is significantly shorter, obviously, than everything else, but the keys also are set just slightly lower to the profile here. So if you butted it all up here, and I'm looking at the keys, the 6-key is pretty low. The 32 key is actually just slightly higher, and then because of the stand on the 15 key, that one is actually even higher for the first row, the bottom row keys. Not that big of a deal, just wanted to point that out. So now the 6-key and the 15 key have fixed cords, so these do not remove, they're part of the system, whereas the 32 key can get removed or replaced depending on what you need. I'll also point out the 6-key has a fixed back, so you can't separate the back to lay it flat like you can with these two other ones. So let me show you what that looks like. So we can easily separate the larger stand and then pull away this smaller stand so that these two can lay flat, whereas again the 6-key cannot. You'll notice that when I do lay them flat, the 32 is a little bit more elevated, so it's a little fatter, but it actually matches pretty well with my keyboard setup. So the 32 key has 4x32, you have 3x5 for your 15, and then you have 2x3 for your 6. So this 6 obviously would fit here, and this 15 would fit in this first section here. So you're kind of just adding a row each time you go up in size, and that's one thing to note. So if you like 3 rows or 4 rows, you may want to opt in for the larger setup. And once you start customizing it and once you start figuring out which buttons you want to use, what you want to have on a first page or a second page, that will kind of help determine too on how many of these you want or what size you want. In my particular case, I started with a large on my left hand and a small 6 on my right. And so what I did initially was preview and program on top, and then I basically cut between my sources, and I had 2 hands, 2 systems here for easy use. Now, the issue was this was at a vertical, and actually it started to bother me because I didn't have a keyboard here. These were my primary controls for my video switcher, like I said, the ATEM 2ME. So as I was switching through, I actually didn't like this angle. So I went ahead and got this 15-key one so I can kind of do this 2 setup here. Another thing I'm going to do is use these rows for aux send. So in my case, I have teleprompters, and sometimes I'm going to be putting video signals or teleprompter scripts into the prompters, and so I can easily switch those inputs either here so that or this row, so I don't have to mess with anything on this row. So these would be hot takes, essentially, like press and go, and that'd be it. And my cut and dissolve features would still be down here probably. All that I still have to customize and figure out exactly what I want to do, but that's kind of the feel of why I have 2 separate devices. Now, I could, I guess, have 2 of these larger ones here and do the same thing, but I think that my left hand will still be my primary and my right hand will just be secondary type stuff. And so if you look at a traditional switcher, that's kind of what you have. You have the main bus, right, and an ME channel or a mix bus that you can basically preview and switch stuff on, and then you have the other side of the switcher, which is usually just a cut or a dissolve or some sort of transitional button. So I guess I could also do disk ties on this side too. That could be nice to have those built in. So, but that's just my personal workflow, and why I'm explaining all this is so that you can kind of get an idea of why I selected the 2 that I selected. So when you're using a resource like the companion open source software, you can do pages. And so what you might want to do is start with your smallest one and put that on the earlier pages, and then basically you can have up to 99 pages, I believe. So you can have like the first 5 dedicated to your 15 channel one, and then you can have the next 5 channels dedicated to the larger board. So it's just really up to you on how you want to kind of organize those channels and those buttons. So Well, I hope this is helpful to get a look to see which one of these devices you would like to possibly have in your setup. So thanks for watching. I hope this comparison has been helpful to just get an idea of what you can do and how they look compared to one another. That was something that I was always wondering before I purchased these, and so to be able to do this and get a hands-on has been really helpful. So, all right, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.